This is Professor Derek Seitz. This Python video illustrates common novice coding errors. This Python script has a number of coding errors in it. They're indicated with comment lines and a sequential error number. To illustrate the errors, we must uncomment out the lines that are commented out. Those are the lines with the double pound signs. Let's take this first group, format, uncomment region. This code's A equal 1. If A is 1, print A, and then a print for a blank line. Save this file, Control S, F5 to run it. There's a syntax error, and it highlights the line and the location of the error. This error is because the if statement, since it begins a block, needs to end in a colon. Save the file and run it again, and there's no error this time. Going back to the editor, we'll proceed to the next error. So that we don't interfere with any variables, we'll re-comment out the previous test. Test number 2, error number 2, uncomment out this region. The code says B equals C plus 1, print B. Save it and run it. We get a trace back. C is not declared, not defined. At line 22, B equals C plus 1 and C is not defined. We'll go back to the code and look at it. B is being assigned the value of C plus 1, but C was never defined. It's an undefined variable. That's a coding error, a basic common coding error. We can resolve this by defining giving it a value. So we'll start up here and add a line of code that says C equals 0. Save it and run it. And now B is equal to 1, as it should. We'll comment this out. Move on to the error number 3. Uncomment it. This code, x equals 10. If x equals 10, print x and then print the blank line. Let's go ahead and run this. First we'll save it and then run it. Expected an indented block. In Python, blocks of code do not have braces around them. They're indicated by being indented. The statement, single statement here, the print statement, should be indented under the if, and the standard indentation is 4 spaces in Python. Notice also that it didn't give an error, but normally variables statements like this do not use a semicolon at the end. That can be used if you want to put multiple statements on the same line. That's not a recommended practice. I'm also going to remove that semicolon. Save this and run it again. B equals 1, that's from the previous run, and here we are, x equals 10. Comment this out. Move on to error 4. Uncomment. Radius is equal to 10. Area is equal to math.pi times radius squared. That's pi r squared. And print the area. We're calculating the area. Save it and run it. Math is not defined. Math is a module, and it's not part of the built-in modules. We need to import it. We'll add an import statement. Import math. Save it and run that. We get the area 314 point whatever. We'll go back to the code. It's not surprising because the radius was 10 and pi r squared is going to be 100 times pi. Pi being 3.14, approximation, our answer makes sense. Commenting out this case, move on to error 5. By the way, I think there's 10 errors in all here. Error 5. Uncomment that. Save it. Let's look at it. Length is 25. Height is 5. Area is length times height. Print the area. It's the area of a rectangle. Save it and run it. Height is not defined. Let's go back and look at this. This is an easy one that beginning students can spend hours and they'll look and try to figure things out. Look at how the spelling is here. Height, H-E-I-G-H-T, and here H-E-I-G-N-T. It has an N instead of an H over here. It's a spelling error, and it's a hard one to see. We'll go ahead and put it how it's supposed to be with an H there. Save it. Remember, the computer's not going to replace your words with ones that it thinks might work. Run it. And we get the area there correctly. Comment out error 5. Move on to 6. Error 6 says my name is Professor Darif Seitz. Upper name is my name dot upper. Print upper name. Save it and run it. It says the string object has no attribute upper. The problem here is that Python, like many languages, is case sensitive, and the name of this string method has a lowercase u for upper, not an uppercase u. Save it after making that change and run it again. And there it prints out the string. Comment this out and move on to error 7. Stack is a list with 3 items in it. Plate, stack.pop, print plate, And let's try this. Save it, run it. Built-in method pop of list object. Let's go back. The problem here is that pop is a method, and methods require the parenthesis with the parameter list. There's no parameters, but still you need the parenthesis here. Save it and run it. And plate 3 is popped off the stack. Comment this back out. Error 8. Print x equals plus 7. Trying to print the string x equals 7. That's string concatenation, that plus sign. Save it and run it. And can't convert int object to string implicitly. The problem here is just what it says. It's not going to do an implicit conversion of this integer 7. We have to create a string version of the 7. We do that with the string constructor str parentheses 7. And now we can concatenate it with the x. Go ahead and save it and run it. And there's x equals 7. Error 9. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. Discriminant equals math.power B comma 2 minus 4 times A times C. It's looking like b squared minus 4ac, which is the discriminant in the quadratic equation. We're going to print out that discriminant given these values for a, b, and c of the quadratic equation in standard form. Save it. Run it. Invalid syntax. The problem here is with parentheses. We have unmatched parentheses. There's a left parenthesis, a right parenthesis, and a right parenthesis there. On this one with no matching left parenthesis, we don't really need that unmatched parenthesis. We'll get rid of it and save it and run it. Discriminant is -8, which means there's two complex number solutions to that equation. Comment this out. And the last error up to 10 is a list from 1 to 10. For item in up to 10, print item. Countdown equals up to 10 reverse. For item in countdown, print item. So we have a list of the first 10 numbers, natural numbers. And for item in up to 10, we want to print the item. And then countdown will be up to 10 reverse. And then we're going to say for item in countdown, print item. Reverse reverses a list. Let's save this and run it. And here we have our list printed out, and then when we go to reverse it we get an error, and this error says for item in countdown none type object is not iterable. If we go back here, the reverse function, reverse method of a list reverses the list, but it does not return anything. It returns none. So countdown is none, and that's not an iterable object, and this for item in countdown does not work. To fix this, we're going to take countdown and put it on a line below, and on this line here, this statement, we'll just do up to 10 reverse, and then we'll do countdown equals up to 10. So we'll reverse the list, and then we'll assign countdown to that list. There'll be a reference to that list, and then we can iterate through it. Go ahead and save this and run it. And there's our original list, and there's the reversed list. We'll go back up to the top, and looks like we forgot to comment one of those out when we were going along the way. It didn't hurt. Didn't use those variables. So reviewing here, the errors. Error 1 was a missing colon. Number 2 was an undefined variable. Number 3 was an indentation error. 4 was a missing import statement. 5 was a spelling error. 6 was the case sensitivity of a method name. 7, we omitted the parentheses on the method call. Number 8 was a type conversion error because it's not going to implicitly convert the integer to a string for that string concatenation. Error 9 was unmatched parentheses. And error 10 was rather subtle. The function did not return a value. It returned none, and we tried to assign that as though we were getting the list back, and we weren't. These are common errors that beginning Python programmers can make, especially if they're coming from another language where it uses braces for blocks and different kinds of things. This concludes this video.